Alright, all you insomniatic TV channel surfers out there tonight, welcome back to the Tuesday Night Special. And you know, folks, we almost forgot about the fact that Asuka sung her theme song while telling Charlotte that she stays the same while she keeps getting better, and along with a couple of backstage interviews that we almost forgot, but at the same time, yeah, they really had it spread out in pieces in between commercials, and that's the reason why we missed them. But speaking of commercials, folks, and characters and shows that have commercials coming out of their faces, I think it's time for us to go into another edition, and probably extreme edition, of the As Seen on TV. And yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, for the second year in a row for the month of Extreme, we decided to go with extreme television shows for this year. And the first show that we have up to kick it off for this year, folks, technically was supposed to be G.I. Joe Extreme, but trust me, you'll see that before the end of this month, but instead is none other than Reboot. And this show has a very special place in my heart for a multitude of reasons, folks. Not only because of the meat and potatoes that features a guardian that goes by the name of Bob, with his companions known as Enzo and Dot Matrix, as they tried to work to keep the mainframe, or the city known as Mainframe, safe from not only hexadecimal, but from megabyte. And an interesting factoid about this show, folks, it came out approximately 5 years prior to The Matrix. Yeah, I kid you not. But besides all that, folks, what did I like about this show? Well, besides the fact that a couple of the heavy-hitting voice actors during this show, including Michael Bayer, who was a part of the real-life adventures of Johnny Quest as Haji Singh, but also would see Ian James Corlett, who played Glitch Bob during this said show, who was the voice of Goku during the dubbed version of the said series of Dragon Ball Z for 1996 and 1997. But you would also see none other than Kathleen Barr, for those who don't know, played the voice of Marie Kanker and Kevin during the classic series of Ed, Edd and Eddy, and also played Trixie and Queen during the show My Little Pony, and was also featured as the lovable dragon of Wheezy during the show of Dragon Tales. For those who don't know, it was actually a show on PBS, but I digress. Another cool thing that I loved about this show, besides all of the action-packed episodes that themed after not only James Bond, Mad Max, and I do believe one that themed after RoboCop, but I could be wrong with that one. But one I did know that was themed after something cool was something that was themed after the classic movie of Evil Dead that was featured during this said show as well. Another thing that I loved about this show, and really loved about this show when Maestro brought it to my attention, is the fact that not only Gavin, Blair, and Ian Pearson, two of the creators of this said show, would be behind the classic 1980s music video from Dire Straits of Money for Nothing. If you remember those CGI characters that would kick off that music video, those two would be responsible for that. That blows my mind, one, and two is the coolest thing I've heard since we've done this As Seen on TV series, because I absolutely love that music video with all of my heart. And this show, folks, will go on to debut on September 7th of 1994, would take a small break in 1999, only to come back to wrap things up in November 30th of 2001. And unfortunately, folks, when it wrapped up in 2001, it left us with the most hated word in TV history of a cliffhanger. And the cliffhanger that they left it on, let's just say, unfortunately, Gavin Blair would not reveal the plans and resolution for the final episodes in case he ever got the chance to resolve the cliffhanger, and that was well over 19 years ago. Almost. As of this upcoming November, it will be 19 years since the last episode of Reboot or any resolve over that said cliffhanger episode, which is just really, really sad. And to make things even better, folks, this show, after it would go off the air, would not only be in syndication on Cartoon Network, a part of a show series known as Toonami, which would be probably one of the best afternoon blocks I would see as a teenager growing up as a kid, which really did make my afternoon, because it would be, I do believe Toonami would see a Reboot, Dragon Ball Z, I guess a couple episodes of Voltron in there. It was a great series. And as a matter of fact, we may review Toonami in the near future, but to get back on track here for this, folks, after the syndication, you would even see a CGI reboot of Reboot that would be called The Guardian Code. That would debut in 2018, and it would feature 4 high schoolers who physically entered cyberspace as the next generation of Guardians to combat against Megabyte and a human hacker who now controls them. Now, I've never seen that show before, but it reminds me automatically of the real-life adventures of Johnny Quest with Jeremiah Surge and everything going on with that. And one day we may review the reboot of Reboot, if that makes any sense to anybody at home. And thank you for reminding me, Maestro, 2 of my favorite episodes of this show, because it was hard to pick one, let alone 2, would have to be the episode where Dot was getting chased down by that character from Evil Dead that just kept saying, groovy. And my second favorite episode would have to be with that crazy raccoon involved in one of the glitch episodes, which I don't know why, but was really funny to me as a kid. Probably because of the raccoon song. And seeing the fact that we don't know how to review TV shows along the lines of TV Guide or any of those other TV reviewers you know of out there, we say this. If you guys want to watch a show that features an entire society living inside of a computer only to try to combat viruses, malware, and anything else that tries to interfere with their happy world by challenging them to games and having funny episodes, serious episodes, and even sad episodes in between that all leads into something beautiful by the end of it all, on a side of a cliff, then I recommend you go out there, pick up your TV channel remotes, and watch that show. And I got a feeling you could probably catch a couple episodes on YouTube as well, so be on the lookout on all sources. No, trust me. And I guess with that said, folks, we might as well head back to this music, and when we return, we'll be back with another edition of the IndieK Triple S Deluxe, right after this. So don't go watching those reruns just yet, folks, and stay tuned.